So now it's Winston's turn to do this?
It's Winston's turn now. What is going on, bud?
Apparently the dogs really like your lap.
They're like, we hardly ever see you sitting down when we see you. Oh, not enough room. Yeah. If there's not enough room for Kinsley, there's definitely not enough room for Winston. You're much bigger.
Yes, you are. You coming up? You coming up?
Oh, you want him to come up?
Come on up. Come on. I can't even do this. Ouch. Come on. Let's go. Up.
He's like, nah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, we'll go over here.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Good boy.
You're a good boy. You're a good-looking boy, and you're a good boy. Yes, you are. Yeah, all right. Okay, so let's start with the update on whether or not we got the goslings under Mama Goose. Okay, excuse me. It was finally about 8:30, 9:30 at night.
It was dark.
It was dark, yeah.
It was like 9:30 p.m. Oh, you got it in your eye there.
I did.
It came down. She finally went back in her house.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Levi's coming.
Levi's.
And Levi and Kinsley are both a little territorial when it comes to, what is she eating?
She's eating a stick.
Okay, that's good. So 9:30, she finally settles down into her house. By that point, into the little doghouse that she's staying in. And by that point, the goslings were in a brooder with
chickens,
some baby chicks. And so we just decided, let's go ahead and give it a try. We grabbed the two baby chicks, and from behind, we put the two goslings in, and she was hissing and kind of a little like, wait a second, where did these come from? But she was hissing at us, not at the babies. So, at the goslings. So she took them. Yay, she took the goslings. Yeah. And we stayed around for about 10 minutes just to watch, to make sure. And it took a while for her to actually get them to go under the wing. So eventually I just lifted her wing up and put them under, and everybody was happy at that point.
Because the goslings were incubator hatched.
Yes.
They weren't mama hatched, so they also were confused.
Yes.
Not really understanding what is this big thing that you're trying to put me with.
Right.
So it was a little of a learning curve for all three involved.
Yeah.
Actually, all five involved, the two of us as well.
Everybody. Oh, you know what? I have glasses.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to wear these.
Wear your safety glasses, Nate.
I'm going to wear my
Have you not learned anything?
No, I learned my lesson.
Oh, okay. That's going to be...
I was doing more drilling today with concrete drill, and I was
wearing
definitely...
your safety glasses.
I was wearing my whole face respirator.
Goodness. Okay,
Kinsley, come on, girl.
This is too much.
Okay,
this is why I prefer walking.
I know, but I didn't want to walk today. Just go and lay down. Okay, so then let's move on to Saturday. Hang on a second. Down. Okay, so let's talk about Saturday.
Saturday, we early on in the day, you were working on the house.
Yeah.
And I just was working around on some chore type things, chicken things. And then we decided to go off the homestead and go to an auction.
Yeah, which we knew we were going to do. So
yeah.
Yeah, so we left about 1 o'clock.
1:30, 2 o'clock. Yeah, because we wanted to get there by...
You wanted to get there at
2:30, because they typically, the way that they kind of give you a schedule of what to expect. Obviously, it depends on how much stuff is brought, but it starts at noon, and then it goes till they're done selling household items, which, oh my goodness, the amount of variety at this. I was just like, what is happening here?
Well, let's first talk about the initial impression of what in the world, because I had never been to an auction.
I had as a kid.
Okay.
And I've seen many auctions on YouTube and other places.
Well, yeah, I've seen those, but I've never been to an auction. Yeah. And so we get there, and it's a fairly small auction.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
And we sit down in the bleachers and we're just observing, and we have no idea what they're selling. And there's people in the front at a table holding items up, and then there's an announcer, the auctioneer, in the back at the top with his microphone saying,
and 3 and half and 4 and
yeah, saying things I could not understand. In fact, I have a little clip of it that I'll just insert right here. I had no idea what was going on. I asked the guy next to me if he sat next to it because he had just bought a post hole digger. I was like, how much did you buy that for? And he tells me, he goes, you couldn't understand? I said, I have no idea what he's saying. And they're like, you'll get used to it. You know, he's just saying numbers and then a bunch of stuff between it, then he's saying numbers.
So just pay attention to the numbers.
Yeah, which it took me a while to figure out the numbers, like when he was actually saying numbers. Eventually, throughout the day, later in the day, they switched auctioneer.
Once I got to animals.
Yeah, and he was much easier to understand. The first guy,
yeah, he didn't do as much of the almost yodeling type auctioneering. The first guy did what I would consider yodeling auctioneering, where it was just a bunch of, the majority of it was all of the in between number talk.
Yeah.
So
just making noise
constant,
to make noise.
Yeah, but it was constant. Like he didn't stop, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was. So initially they were selling, like Katie said, like household items, and it was anything and everything under the sun.
Yeah, it was
bottles of hand sanitizer, cleaners, post hole diggers,
empty bottles, coins.
Yeah. Metal.
Oh, cereal. Boxes of cereal. Cabbage.
Leather for horse like saddles and stuff like that.
They did a saddle.
And they went for really cheap prices. Like some dude bought a whole saddle for what?
$5.
$5.
And then so it was like food, and then like pantry items, and just random stuff. And then, there's always a lot of, basically there's a flea market that's pretty close. And so they bring some items over from the flea market also, and they have a flea market booth, and whatever doesn't sell at the auction, they take it back to the flea market. So there was just some random stuff. And we were just like, huh.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that kind of stuff to be sold.
Yeah, I was kind of picturing like us cleaning out our barn and taking it there is kind of the types of stuff.
That's the kind of stuff that was there, yeah.
It was, or like the stuff that you couldn't sell on Facebook Marketplace or at a garage sale. That's kind of the feeling of a lot of it. There was some really nice stuff, don't get me wrong, but then there was quite a few bins where it was like, okay, after it kind of got picked through, they'd be like, everything left on the table. It'd go for like $1, or it'd be everything left on the table. And we're talking like 15 to 30 items at some points, and it'd get 0 bids. It was just like,
just stuff.
It was just, oh man. And we didn't register. We went just to observe. We did not need any animals. We just wanted to kind of get a gist of it, just to see like what other options we have. For the chicken selling business, would this be a viable way to sell chickens if for some reason orders fell through, had too many, wanted to switch out, or get new stock, because and then when they started the animals, it started with hatching eggs, and oh my, there was, what are they, 6 foot long tables?
Yeah.
There was probably 12 feet of just stacks of cartons of eggs.
Yep.
And
everything from barnyard mix to like...
There was Americanas, there was olive eggers, there was...
Easter eggers.
almost the largest majority was barnyard mix.
Yeah.
I would say 90% was. So that was interesting to see. And there was only a couple and then quail eggs. There was duck eggs. No goose eggs, but there was, that's what it kind of started with, was all the different eggs, and then it went into the boxes or the crates, it was
boxes and crates, meaning chickens.
Yep. Rabbits,
so hens, roosters, rabbits,
chicks, pullets.
chicks.
I mean, all different ages. From a couple days freshly hatched all the way up to I don't even know how old. And those were all sorts of different breeds. And then there was bottle goats, bottle bucks, mostly bucklings. Yeah, so it was interesting.
Yeah. I think we were both surprised at the prices. Like the hatching eggs, they're going for $1 or $2 for a dozen.
A dozen, and that's
yeah.
that's a little hard if you're selling hatching eggs, because the cheapest I've ever sold a dozen is $10, and for good hatching eggs.
Yeah, we were sitting next to a lady that actually you had been talking to for a while over, I'm guessing messaging or something.
She's a customer of ours.
Yeah, and she was there. She's the one that told us about it, and she said that it depends on the day. Like the day that we went, prices seemed to be really low. Things were going for really cheap. Other days they don't. But roosters were going
upwards of, I say on average, $15 a rooster.
And then the hens were only going for like $6.
Yeah, and some of the hens were, some of them got up there, like there was a lot of bantams. And the bantams and like the cuter ones were going for $25, but the majority of them were going for, like about $10.
And it's really fast paced.
It's so fast.
The animals are in a crate that you can't see through. And so they open up the crate, they lift it up, they show the animal, and you get like 10 seconds and they put it back down and they move on to the next one. And people are bidding, you're trying to understand the numbers and they're bidding and it's just one after another.
You know the bidding's done when the next animal gets held up.
Yeah.
Is basically how you know somebody got it.
It's just so crazy for me. Like, how do you even make a decision whether or not you want that animal? Does it look healthy? Is it the right price? Like, I can't do it. Auctions are not for me.
I think you were stressed.
I wasn't stressed. I just know that it's not for me. It's too fast paced for me. There's not enough time to evaluate. Like there were some, they were in like a laundry basket, so you could see them prior. You could see them coming down the assembly line, but you didn't ever have a chance to go look at them prior. At least the crate animals. Maybe the larger animals, which we didn't stay for.
Yeah, you had a chance to see the larger animals because you could walk around the perimeter, but unless you worked there, you couldn't go through all the boxes and stuff.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna go back, but maybe.
I would. I'd go back. I mean, I'd like to see it, and I mean, I'll potentially sell, roosters or trios or stuff there. But they didn't have a lot of what I have, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. So I didn't really get a good sense of the breeds that I have. There might have been a few Australorps, but for the most part, none of the birds looked like anything that we breed here. So it'll be interesting to kind of do a kind of a testing, because we get some really gorgeous roosters.
Yeah.
But I would definitely do it in a manner where they don't have to pick them up and hold them up and put them back in the crate. I want to do the least amount of stress for the animal, so I'd probably just put it into something that's see-through that they can just either hold up or, people, like Nate said, you get a longer time to see it and look at it. So then maybe it'll pique people's interest a little sooner.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see. And then I'm sure there's other auctions around too. Maybe looking at some in Knoxville or something, or if there's some up in Johnson City or, just a little bit, larger towns, you're probably going to get a little bit different of an experience. So I'd like to probably go to a couple of them and then evaluate, which ones make the most sense for us to attend or...
You.
Okay, for me to do. Might need your help if I'm taking a bunch.
We'll see. Yeah. So that was Saturday.
That was all day.
Yes. We didn't get back. We didn't leave until 6.
The auction until and they were only halfway done with the chickens at that point.
Yeah.
But I felt like I had seen enough of the process, and I was picking people's brains. So it was great to be able to talk to people that are regulars and just get a better understanding of who's selling what, who typically brings what, who buys what, and then how it works, so you know how to set things up, so that if you get a low price on one crate, you don't have to sell all your animals for that same low price, as long as you stagger them in a way, like break them up and don't put just all roosters of the same breed back to back to back to back to back. So it was good to learn that kind of stuff, because I wouldn't have even thought about that. I just would have assumed everything went separately. Even like with your hatching eggs. So if you were to bring, 5 dozen salmon Faverol eggs, the first dozen sold for $1, and they said, hey, I'm going to take all 5 of those, you literally just sold 5 dozen eggs for $5.
Yep.
Which that would be
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Saturday, and then it was a long day. We didn't get home till probably after 8.
It was a long day.
Yeah.
So then Sunday, I spent the morning editing and released the Sunday video on the Kraemerlife. And then because of the work I did Saturday morning at the house, I knew I needed some more supplies. And it required going to Home Depot, and the closest one, or the one that had what I needed rather, was up in Johnson City. And so we ended up taking a field trip. We went grocery shopping.
Yep.
And then we went to Home Depot and we got the stuff. It was kind of an outing day.
Yeah. We just did all sorts of outings this
We really
weekend.
did. We really did.
It was unusual for us.
Yeah. So actually I need to talk about Sunday morning first.
Yeah, I was gonna say you had some stuff happen in the morning.
Yeah, so I was doing chores, and actually before chores, I always just go on a little walk with the dogs. We walk to the red barn, and we walk back. Sometimes we'll walk from the red barn up to the gray barn, and just and then I'll start with the chickens up on the hill for the morning chores. And I ended up doing that. So as I was up at the gray barn heading over to the chickens, I was just observing, and I noticed one of the black Australorps was stuck on the fence. Its leg was hanging from its leg, wrapped around in the fence, and the electric fencing was on. So I ran over and I turned off the electric fence, and I unwrapped the hen, and I set her down, and she was just unable to walk. Poor thing. So I picked her back up, and I was just holding on to her, just letting her calm down and relax, deciding if I was going to isolate her or not. And all of a sudden, Levi starts barking like crazy and starts running over to the pond, and a duck was on the edge of the pond.
Wild duck.
Yeah, and went into the center of the pond and was quacking like crazy. And Levi thought this was the greatest thing, and then that attracted Winston, and Winston went over, and none of them wanted to go into the water. Meanwhile, Kinsley was already in the water, going like, what in the world is going on? There's a duck to my right, quacking. Levi and Winston are barking their fool's heads off. I'm out of here. So she gets out of the pond.
You still have the chicken in your arms.
And I'm still holding the chicken, yep. And so the duck flies off. And so then Levi starts sniffing around, and he really concentrates on the area that the duck had come from. Well, the duck was laying on eggs. And so Levi grabbed one of the eggs and brought it up to the bank, and I grabbed it from him and put it back and told Levi to leave it alone, and he did, and we all left. So, then I still had the Australorp in my hand, went back, set her down, and she was able to walk again, still kind of hobbling a little bit. So I put her back into their coop in the nesting box and just let her rest, but she's doing fine.
Yeah, she was fine by that evening.
Yeah. So meanwhile, the sheep got out. So I had to go put the sheep back into their paddock. And that was a mistake because I had left the gate open. So they they just walked through the gate. So put the sheep back. Went over and checked on baby, on the goslings and mama, and they were doing fine. They were still in the doghouse, still underneath her wing. I could see that they had eaten some of the crumble that we gave, and the water was dirty, so they had been in the water. So they were doing fine. Okay, so made a field trip, went and got our groceries, got Sam's Club. On the way back, so we get back, nothing really happened. We went into town.
Yeah, we just made the usual stops when we go to town we try to make sure we stop at as many places as possible so we don't have to go to town every day.
Yeah.
Because that's annoying.
Yeah.
So.
Even though I have to go to Lowe's again.
Oh, geez.
I know, but it's okay. So we get back, it's about 8:30.
Yeah, and I think I went into change out of my shoes into my boots.
Because we're unloading the groceries.
And I was putting all the groceries away.
Yep, and as we're unloading, I hear the goslings chirping really, really loudly.
The babies? Yeah,
the goslings, yeah.
Sorry.
And so I look over, and Mama is out with the goslings, and the other four geese are going crazy. So I run over there, and Mama heads back into the doghouse, and one of the babies is trying to follow her back in, but she can't get up over the lip of the doghouse. Or I don't know if it's a she, but the gosling can't get over. And so I run and I grab it. I had to chase it around a little bit. Meanwhile, as I'm trying to grab the gosling, one of the geese comes over and attacks the gosling. So I picked up the gosling and I put it back with Mama. And I'm looking, I'm like, where's the second gosling? And I look over, and the second gosling is laying on the ground dead.
So traumatic.
So awful. It was awful.
Yeah.
So I walk over and I pick up the gosling, and it's still warm. It literally just happened.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, well, maybe
CPR.
Maybe I can revive it. So literally for 20 minutes, I'm just sitting there, just doing chest compressions and blowing on the beak, trying to get it some air. I think probably what had happened is it probably got its neck snapped by
like it picked it up and threw it or something, or pecked it.
So,
which we were hoping that wouldn't be the issue, but we just didn't know.
Yeah.
There's always something that can happen. Mama can do it. We thought, since they'd already been in there for 2 full days, this was the third day that the babies were in there.
With Mama,
With Mama, was hopeful that, they would be fine. So then we spent the next, until dark, the next several hours, getting Mama and baby a new home, and pulled them out and trying to decide where to put them, how to best do this, because we didn't want this to happen again.
No.
One, never want to lose any animals, especially like that. And then this poor Mama,
I know.
To lose one baby and then, God forbid, both. So pulled her, made her own enclosure, got her all set up with food and water.
Her and the gosling.
And the gosling, yeah. And then Nate made a little stepping ramp to make sure the gosling could get in and out of the doghouse as easy as possible. And then today I put in a bucket for Mama, and she was dipping her head and stuff. And then I put in a little bit of a bowl that the baby can reach its head in for water, one of the bigger rubber ones. But then Mama can actually get into, but then there's still a smaller one that the baby can get into to be inside of, but it's not too deep yet. And then they both can drink from it. So they have watering options.
Yeah.
And then they have, of course, their food, and then they're on fresh grass that nothing's really been on for a year, or at least 6 months.
Lots of grass, lots of good grass.
Lots of good grass.
Yeah, this morning when I came out, it was still pretty cold out, and Mama was out and baby was out, and they were just eating grass, and the baby was kind of like, I'm really cold, Mama, and trying to get up into the wing, and it was kind of cute. But they went back into the doghouse and warmed up a little bit. So
yeah, and then I came out and they were good this afternoon, and it was a very warm day today.
Yeah, today, nice. Once it warmed up, it was fine, and the sun crested the whatever. the trees,
Yeah.
and they
It
got.
was just the coldest day,
It
evening.
was really cold last night.
Yeah, that it had been in quite some time. It dropped into the 30s last night. So
Yeah.
that was the other thing. We did some preparations with the other chicks that we have outside on grass to make sure that they would have enough coverage, and so that the heat would keep them warm enough when they're in there, because they're getting a little bit bigger, but we still don't want to take them off of heat yet when it's dipping below anything below 50.
Yeah, I ended up taking the heating, the brooder pad, what is it called? The brooder plate? Or
Plate, yeah.
Yeah. And I stuck that in front of the 27-gallon tote that they're sleeping in, and I lifted the back of the tote with a 2x4 to make it flat, and so they're not leaning
Sliding
backwards,
back.
or the plate's not slowly
Yeah.
compressing against them,
Yeah.
heating them up like a pancake. So yeah, it sucked. It
was
dramatic.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Yeah. And it was just,
Like we got those 2 goslings specifically so Mama could have her babies, because she sat for so long.
she sat for well over 36, 38 days.
Yeah.
Well
And it just-
over. Probably closer to 40. And yeah. And then for her to lose one,
Yep.
she's not acting bad. Like, she's not acting like she lost one, which is good. She's not searching. She's not, crying out for anything. So that's at least good. And the little chick's not either. So hopefully they'll mentally all be okay.
Yeah.
And then physically, we'll just have to figure out, like, now how do we do it? Because we have another birdie hen in there, and I don't know if anything will hatch. No idea.
Another broody goose.
Got another broody goose that's sitting on eggs, and
Yeah.
we have eggs in the incubator, but we plan on putting those with chickens.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
If they
just
hatch.
yeah, if they hatch, fingers crossed. So who knows? But
Yeah.
it was
who knows?
a lot.
So then to recap the duck, not to recap, but to end the duck thing. So was it Sunday that I saw the duck, or was it Saturday?
Sunday morning, you saw the duck.
Okay. So Sunday, after we got the geese and stuff all figured out, I went over and I checked to see if Mama Duck had gone back and laid on those 6 eggs, and she hadn't. She abandoned the eggs. So I ended up grabbing the eggs and I stuck them in the incubator, and we will see if we can get some baby ducks.
Then he's like, "Oh, hey, honey, guess what? You got more eggs in the incubator."
You never know. Why not? Let's give it a try.
Oh, man. I was like, "Oh, good, ducks, cool."
Ducks are cool.
I have no idea what kind of duck it was.
Nope, no clue.
Not a clue.
No clue. No, I mean, I have a little video of it, but I don't know what it is.
I haven't even seen it yet, so
Yeah.
I'll have to take a look.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've rambled almost for 30 full minutes, so
It was a long weekend.
it was a lot. There was a lot happening.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it. Goodbye.
Take care. Hope you all had a eventful weekend,
Or not.
or not. A relaxing weekend probably would have been appreciated also.
Yeah. Bye.
The dogs are all passed out.